Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our night's Red Barn event. Thank you all for coming even through the starting to get weathery here, and I'm sure we're all happy about though, mostly. My name is Joshua. I'm the community programs educator here at Wenatchee River Institute. And we have Tucker over here, making sure that folks that are streaming can watch and hear, and also we post these onto our YouTube channel to be able to see them later. And then we have our Paul over here, our volunteer, selling you drinks. Feel free to get up during presentation, get another drink over there. He'll be ready for you. So Wenatchee River Institute, our mission is to connect people, communities, and the natural world. And that's something that we keep in mind with all of our programs that we put on. This one's pretty easy, connecting the community here in Leavenworth. Lots of folks work up at Stevens Pass. And for me, at least, I'm sure for a lot of you, getting out, skiing, snowboarding, connecting you to the beautiful mountains and the snow that we have here. We also here have different programs. We have our youth programs. Let's see if I have this queued up right. We have our youth programs where we bring kids here to our campus to do programming. Or we also have our traveling naturalist program that will travel to schools down the valley and also up and down the Columbia River as far away as 2 hours to bring programming to them. And right now we're doing a cool program that we have 2 indigenous women that are bringing some of their knowledge and teaching the kids about some of the stories and some of the ways that they can process different plants and things. So we're trying to integrate a lot of these different things in how we connect kids to the natural world. We also have community programs like this Red Barn event. We have workshops coming up. What do we got here? We have naturalist trivia next week where you can come and challenge us WRI folks, see if your naturalist knowledge is better than ours. Don't try too hard though, because we're good, but yeah, we have that, and we have bird walks, and then we have another Red Barn event at the end of this month as well. I mentioned the indigenous women that are part of our program. That's a big part of what we're trying to do, is connect the tribes and the people that have been here before us to this space, this land that we have the privilege to be on. One of the ways that we do that is also by reading a land acknowledgement. And so I'm going to read that here. This land acknowledgement was created alongside the Shimpetsquatchie people. We're spreading the message they wish to spread to the public. The land Wenatchee River Institute sits on is the ancestral homelands of the Shimpetsquatchie, Pasquosa, or Wenatchee people. The Shimpetsquatchie, meaning people in between, had villages positioned along the Wenatchee River and surrounding areas. Their ancestral homeland extends from the Cascade Ridge throughout what is now known as the Wenatchee and Okanagan valleys. The culture and economy of the Shimpetsquatchie people centers on taking care of the land. They fish, hunt, gather roots and berries, basket-making materials, and medicines. The Shimpetsquatchie are named within the Yakima Treaty of 1855, and language to establish the reservation was never followed through. There we go. Many Shimpetsquatchie now live on the Colville Reservation, 150 miles northeast of Leavenworth. They were forced off their land here, and the U.S. government moved them to this reservation. The Shimpetsquatchie people are still alive today. They continue to practice their culture, harvest their traditional foods and medicines, and hold their ceremonies passed down from their ancestors. Most people won't see or notice them, but they continue to be on the land they're connected to. Their traditional language is Inhamchin, an interior Salish dialect. And I'd like to welcome you all by saying hello in their language. Tilhusht. Tilhusht. We offer this land acknowledgement as the first step to amplifying indigenous voices and recognizing the harm done to them as a people. We stand as an ally to recognize their connection to the land and their rights to practice their culture on these sacred lands. We encourage all to learn about the indigenous peoples of the place you now call home. The Wenatchee River Institute is committed to sharing this land acknowledgement and following up with other actions to educate and be respectful. And now I'd like to thank our sponsors who allow us to have these Red Barn events and to keep them free. We have City of Leavenworth, Rhine House, Icicle Brewing, South Restaurants, North Central Washington Audubon Society, Munchen House, Sleeping Lady Mountain Resort, Sage Mountain Natural Foods, Gustav's, Obertal Inn, Chocolat, Barron House, Cove Resort at Fish Lake, Tierra Learning Center, Riverfront Rock Gym, and Rimmer and Reuter Construction. And as I mentioned, we're streaming this over YouTube. And so we just ask that you keep questions to the very end of it so that we can include those that are watching, that they can also ask questions and hear questions all at the same time. And now to introduce our speaker. Ellen has been with Vail Resorts since 2003 and currently serves as the VP and General Manager of Stevens Pass. Prior to joining the team at Stevens, Ellen was the Chief of Staff for the President of the Mountain Division and worked in mountain operations at Northstar, California, and Beaver Creek Resort. She's originally from Anchorage, Alaska, and Ellen graduated from the University of Washington. She was a ski racing coach throughout college, and she also worked on the race crew at Snowbasin for the 2002 Winter Olympic Games. So let's welcome Ellen up here. Thank you.
I have a few slides prepared to share. I'll be going over, this is me. I'm Ellen. That's a snowy day at Stevens. We'll take a look back at this season. I do have some updates from this past summer. Then I'm excited to get into the progress we've made with Kehr's chair. And then we'll talk about a few things that are upcoming for this season. I did have a cold earlier this week. My voice is still recovering, negative COVID tests. Feeling good in the clear, so feel good being here, but I apologize that my voice is not quite at 100% yet. So, all right. I'm gonna talk and drive at the same time. Here we go. I do have a few notes that I will reference. I have a lot of employees in the room tonight, so that's fun and that's exciting. This last season was a success. We returned to full operations. We ran all of our lifts every day on time. We had all of our restaurants open. We made a lot of improvements in parking. Parking was not perfect. It got my attention very quickly that I was not best served supporting our team on the mountain, but diving into parking. Which we can talk about later tonight. But I have a lot of gratitude for our team and the fact that Stevens Pass is back. We had a really good winter last year and we have a lot to be proud of. So thank you guys that are here. Appreciate that very much. Last season was also the 85th anniversary of Stevens Pass. So yeah, huge landmark operating since 1937. And we tried not to take on too much last year. We didn't overdo the event schedule, but really waited till this spring to celebrate with a community fair. We had a great end of season party that was splashdown. And again, it was a nice return to more normal operations. All right, summer. We got a new dog. I think the trail maps are coming tomorrow. I have a feeling Zoe's on them, so we're gonna fully embrace the newest addition to our ski patrol team. So one of many shots of Zoe to come. Great. Full operation of Bike Park this past summer. I started last June, and we had a lot of snow 2 seasons ago in the spring. It took a long time to dig out the mountain. We had a lot of repair work to do on our trails. So we opened towards the end of July. Yeah, we opened at the end of June for sightseeing and disc golf and had a lot of visitors up last summer, but it took us until roughly the end of July to get our bike park open. This year, it was wonderful to have Bike Park open at the end of June. We had almost an uninterrupted summer. Again, 2 seasons ago, we had a lot of impacts from the fire on the west side of the mountain. It shut us down for almost the entire month of September last year. So we only lost one weekend in August to smoke and air quality. So it was really wonderful for our team to have the full bike park open end of June all the way to the beginning of October. Our trail crew did a lot of work after the bike park closed, and I'm really excited about improvements that we're going to have in the bike park next summer as well. Personally, I got out in the park and got to take a lesson and got to ride a couple times, and even got to make a trip up to Whistler and ride, and it was so much fun. Mountain biking, downhill mountain biking can be a little bit intimidating, and yeah, if you haven't had a chance to do it yet, highly recommend. We also have other things at Stevens Pass in the summer. We have an 18-hole disc golf course, and one of our objectives is there a disc golf tournament that we could bring to Stevens Pass to share the mountain with more people? We have an archery event every year that brings hundreds of families to Stevens. They're wonderful guests at the mountain. We scoop a lot of ice cream in the summer. Thursday is Employee Ice Cream Day. I've never missed one all summer. Hopefully others didn't. It's a real highlight. And then we extended our T-bar. Our coffee is open 7 days a week. So if you're driving over the pass, it's really nice to stop in. One of my favorite things about summer is we are a stop on the PCT. And so to have hikers come through, they came through a little bit earlier this year because there's so much snow in Tahoe. Some of them skipped the Sierra and came up, and so we had a steady stream all summer. But when you come in the morning and they're sleeping under the awnings and just excited for power and caffeine and maybe some other things that we might serve at our restaurant and bar, it's just really fun to have them be part of the summer. So a few highlights. All right. Let's jump into something exciting. If you were not aware, the day after we close, we have an employee party. So we had that. And then the day after our employee party, we started dozing and clearing snow for the deconstruction of our 1964 riblet double that used to be called Big Chief and was renamed after Bruce Kehr, one of the founders of Stevens Pass. And so Kehr's chair was disassembled. I have so much gratitude for this team. This project has been ahead of schedule and under budget all summer. And today, Kehr's chair passed load test. So it is ready to go for the upcoming season. Yeah, so just a huge amount of gratitude to the team from SkyTrack. Vince Arthur, our mountain manager, was the project manager on this all summer. And a lot of hands at the mountain, though, went into supporting this operation. So this is fun. Delaney put together a video. Thank you so much. We'll take a look. That was carrier number 1 being loaded onto the line. Thank you. These two? Okay. Oh, got it. Copy. All right. So what's to come? Like I mentioned, I started in June of last year, and I had a lot to prove, and we had a lot to prove as a resort, both for our employees and our guests. And it feels really good to have that season last year under our belt. Come on in. And we need to go back out this year and do it again. We need to make sure that everyone that's coming to Stevens Pass continues to count on us for, I said I wouldn't do that, for a reliable experience up at the mountain. And that's the focus. And so for me, that means not biting off more than we can chew. It means continuing to deliver a reliable experience. Lots are plowed, lifts are open on time, terrain is open as it makes sense and it's available. And we are expanding our focus into where we have more capacity. So we're expanding our operating hours and our variety in our food and beverage outlets. I got a lot of comments last year about what we offer in our restaurants. And for those where I had the opportunity to explain, COVID really had an impact on what we were able to operate up at the mountain. It reduced our menu, it reduced our footprint. And so that team has been building back over time. And after what we were able to do last year, we're really excited that the Foggy will be open an additional day of the week. Other outlets will be open for longer hours, more days of the week, and with greater variety. So that's going to make eating and drinking, fooding and beveraging, as we call it at Stevens Pass, a little bit more enjoyable. We're going to have a continued focus on parking at Stevens Pass. Put a blog post out today, which is also replicated on our other social media channels, to provide more detail about the carpool program. So weekends, holidays, and midweek powder days, slots A and G, are going to be 4+ carpool until 1 p.m. or until they fill up. There's a couple exceptions to that, always have been ADA access. We have some EV chargers up in the G lot, so those will fill up on a first come, first serve basis, and then including family parking in that carpool designation. And so that is a driver with 2 kids, 12 or younger, to make access easier for families that are coming up with little ones. So that is less than 15% of all of the parking that we have available at Stevens Pass. So it is those 2 lots that are closest with access to the resort, but 85% of our parking spaces, there's no change to how we will get people into the resort and off the road as quick as possible. We are continuing to highlight that Stevens Pass has a lot of capacity in the afternoons and in the evenings. So as many of you know, from mid-December to mid-March, we are open until 10 p.m., 5 nights a week. And so our half-day ticket starts at 1 o'clock. And if it's a Wednesday through Sunday, that goes till 10 p.m. And then last year during the season, because we had the capacity available, we moved night skiing from starting at 4 p.m. until 3 p.m. So if someone is coming up to purchase a night skiing ticket, or they have the Select Pass, which is good midweek or for all night skiing, that now starts at 3 p.m. So that's all to complement that. The biggest thing that I learned and needed to lean into last year was parking at Stevens Pass. And I've been quoted as saying parking has been an issue at Stevens Pass since 1937. But what we have and what we leaned into is the ability to limit our ticket sales to ensure that when our pass holders are coming up on those busiest days, weekends, holidays, and powder days, we have parking. And so that took a little time to figure out and get better at, but once we got better at it, it essentially eliminated when we were parking out at the summit. And that's really important. If you drive all the way up to Stevens, you should have a place to park. And so we're going to continue to refine and master that art. And the idea is that, well, certainly my goal is we don't have any days that we park out, and we invite as many people up as we can. So if we're not selling a ticket on the weekend, or they're sold out and they're not available, that will really be encouraging folks to come at 1 o'clock or at 3 o'clock. And especially weekends for the core of the season, you can ski till 10 o'clock at night, and the skiing can be fantastic. So yeah, that's a lot of what's a highlight for the winter to come. Wow, I skipped over a really big one. We are 97% staffed. We are ready to go. So it was fun to be here a year ago and talk about the fact that we were staffed and ready. We're staffed and ready to go. We do have a couple positions we're still filling. We still have beds available in employee housing. So things are looking up. Another thing you can expect from me to continue, but maybe with a few more voices in the conversation, is just transparent communication. I don't have personally a large social media presence. That's not who I am. But writing the blog this year was a real gift, to just explain the why behind decisions and just provide more context. It's been really fun this summer to have Vince, our mountain manager, be the one giving the Kehr's chair updates, and you'll hear more from him about the mountain. So I'll probably keep talking about parking and other things, and he'll get to talk about the fun stuff like terrain expansions and powder days. So that'll be really good. All right, I think, before opening up to questions, just one more topic is, I say this to my staff, I'll say it here. I don't know if Stevens Pass gets to be funny yet, but hopefully we get to have a little bit more of a sense of humor. And hopefully we get to have a little more fun and invite groups up for events when it makes sense, and just continue to lighten the mood up at the mountain. We had a great year last year, and we want to keep doing that. So, yeah, keep making sure skiing's fun every day. That's really the bulk of the update that I had for everybody. So this time is your time. If there are questions that I can answer, that's what I'm here for. Yeah.
Curious if you can explain the rationale why the Kehr's was replaced with a different lift, why that lift versus a new lift somewhere else, and then what impact, if any, will it have on the lineup on Double Diamond, as everybody waits for Double Diamond to open?
Great. Just to repeat the question, why did we replace Kehr's chair, and what is the impact it would have on Double Diamond? Right. Great. Received this question a year ago and appreciated that one of my ski school supervisors chimed in when the question was, why didn't we replace it with a high-speed quad? And it is being replaced with a fixed grip quad. So a 2-seater is being replaced with a 4-seater. It is fixed, which means it's not a detachable lift. The answer to that question is, just given the amount of terrain that it serves, a fixed grip is enough for that terrain. One way I like to think about Kehr, so I'll answer the second question first, is we kind of have 2 user groups that are on that lift. One is going up to ride Double Diamond. Double Diamond is a fixed grip triple. So if we had a really high-speed lift servicing that, could potentially create a longer line at the bottom of Double Diamond. And 2, we have groups that lap that terrain, and it's also the home to our local race club. And so our local race club and folks who are skiing the terrain that is accessible from Kehr's chair who may be lapping, we've got kind of those 2 groups going up. So if 2 folks peel off to Double Diamond, that's a triple, it can handle it, and 2 folks are gonna make a lap, whether they're training or they're enjoying the terrain that's down there. So because we open the backside lifts 15 minutes later than the front side lifts, there will be that line first thing in the morning, just as we are giving our patrollers and our lift operators and our mountain personnel time to get into position and get ready to open. But we're hoping that it won't be anything different than in years past, and that the new lift won't exacerbate any lines that we may see at Double Diamond. Yeah, and why this lift? So some of you may be aware Seventh Heaven was built in 1960. It's also had a motor rebuild. It's had some more work done to it. Kehr's services intermediate terrain. And so we have a wider user group of skiers that are on that lift. So this upgrade and some of the safety components that go with it will service that larger skier group who will be on that terrain. And that was really important to us, is there have been technological upgrades that this new lift brings to intermediate and advanced skiers that will be on that terrain, and that feels really good. So, yeah. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Great.
It made me think of one other benefit too, though, is that it'll help disperse the crowd at the base quicker.
Yeah, hopefully. So, yeah. Great.
To tag on to that, I guess I had assumed wrongly that when we replaced that chair that it would go further up into the bowl to that little shelf that is up there so that people wouldn't have to do the traverse around to get into the bowl. But I guess it just ends pretty much right where it used to end.
It's very similar, so it will still provide access to Double D. The bottom of the lift is a little bit closer to the PCL, and the top of the lift is a little bit closer to the bottom of Double Diamond. So you'll notice it's just a really slight difference in the line, but it is essentially in the same path. Yeah.
I just think that's going to create such a bottleneck there between Double D, and I thought it would be going up further where people would ski down to get on Double D or go off into the bowl, but I guess it's just, I thought the improvement would make a change in the line a little bit, or go further.
Yeah, no, hear you on the feedback, and it's a replacement. It's a 1-for-1, so it's in the same place. Yeah, it's exciting. Passed load test today. Got a new lift for this season. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
You mentioned terrain expansion. What is that about?
Terrain expansion. We are starting to look at some options that have been penciled out in our master development plan. And we're at the very beginning of kind of researching and diving back into that conversation. There are opportunities to expand within our special use permit. I have spent the majority of my time since starting in the role on day-to-day operations, but this summer had the opportunity in partnership with another member on our team, first to get educated. What's all the work that's been done? How many things have already been thought about? And have really appreciated kind of getting up to speed. And so I'm hoping to be able to spend more of my time going forward, diving into some of those opportunities, but I don't have anything to share at this moment, so. Yeah.
Is there a particular type of training you're prioritizing, or is it too early to even know?
So the projects that are in our master development plan, one is further to the west off of Brooks in the Grace Lakes area. One is further to the east from Kehr's in an area we call Northern Exposure. And then there's a couple other, one that's terrain, another lift that's kind of penciled in. So there's expanding that front side footprint in both directions. A lot of work has been done to look at what that could be. So starting there, and again, just trying to get educated up to speed on what went into those designs and why, and does this make sense, and is it what would have the biggest impact at Stevens Pass? So yeah, more to come. Yeah, great. Yeah.
I just have a comment. I stopped by the project about 3 weeks ago and looked at the location of the bottom terminal and how they placed it. I thought they did a beautiful job of recontouring that land and building up the wall, and it looks just fantastic, better than I ever imagined it would, so great job.
Thanks. Appreciate it, and I will pass it on to Vince as well. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah.
I just want to say I really appreciate your approach and your communication. It's really been lacking, and you really rejuvenated a place that we all love, and thank you. I do have a couple of concerns and comments about the grooming has not really been up to par, in my opinion, in the last few years. Seems like, they have top-of-the-line machines, but not experienced people to run them, so hopefully that will change in the future or this season. Another concern I have, or just a comment, is I would love it if we could get updates on the website or on Facebook instead of just Twitter. So I don't do Twitter. I think a lot of people are going up to the resort, and they don't have time to scroll through Facebook stories or whatever. Just on the website would be fantastic. I don't want to log in to Epic Mix app. And the cameras, if we could have the cameras not pointing at Granite Peak or Cowboy Ridge, which is beautiful, but it doesn't really help us with the intel that we need to make our decisions for the day. I feel like if there's any way to get a camera at the bottom of the backside, I know that's tricky considering the communications down there and stuff, and the lack of service and that, but if we could not have two cameras pointed at the top of Time Hill, instead have a camera pointed at the top of Time Hill and one pointing somewhere else, somewhere that gives us some data that we can use so that we know. The best thing would be to know before you get to the bottom of the backside whether there's a 2-hour line down there or something going on, you know? Some kind of data that we can access on our phones or on the maps that are there that tell us, oh, there's a problem back there, don't go back there, you'll get stuck.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the feedback. Cameras, communication, grooming. So we replaced 2 cameras this summer. So that's an improvement. I think I'll say for our whole team, we never want anyone to get stuck at the bottom of the backside. And so if there is an issue, we're going to pull ropes and we're going to, you know, stop the flow of traffic from going down there. So I'm sorry if that has happened. And that's something we will continue to try to mitigate just as fast as we can communicate what's going on. Our lift reliability has improved a lot in the last 2 seasons. We are operating machines outside in winter conditions, and they do occasionally have issues that interrupt operations, but that lift reliability that has really come back to what our guests should expect over the last couple of years feels really good. So heard on the feedback, thank you very much. And communication. We are in the process of switching from our old app, the Epic Mix app, to My Epic, and it launched Monday. It just rolled out. So you're not alone in looking for better, more consistent communication. And so that new app and increased technology, hopefully we can provide better real-time updates. My communications partner is passionate about getting information out to our guests the best we can. We don't have cell service on the backside, which makes it tough. We're hoping to continue to be working with the cell service providers to improve that over time. With all the transitions that are happening with Twitter, we're going to provide more clarity in the coming weeks between now and when we open of what you can expect for communication. You're not alone in that feedback of, I'd rather go to the website. How do I get this information? What does that look like? So just again, know that that is shared and you're not the only one to provide that feedback. So more to come for sure. And then grooming, boy, the last couple years have brought a whole bunch of different things to our team. I used to be a cat operator, and I can say first person how much our folks that are grooming at night care about the product that they're leaving behind. And we have a mix. We have some tenured operators that have been with us for many years, and we have members of our team that are newer. Our fleet is in really great shape. We did have some time last year. We have 2 new winch cats in our fleet in the last 2 years, and that's a really good thing. So we had some issues with one for a little bit last year, and then we were able to pull forward the delivery of a machine we were supposed to get for this season until last year. So going into the year with our fleet in good shape, including one winch cat that's less than a year old and one that's got 1 season on it is the best we can set up the team. And I can share that we're working on how do we maximize our equipment operators to be on the mountain or in the parking lots where they're needed most. And so we have members of our team that are dedicated to being on the mountain and members of our team that are dedicated to being in our parking lots. And if it's not snowing a lot, how do we put more of those resources on the hill to increase our grooming footprint when it's wanted? And then when it is snowing a lot and we need to keep our lots clear and maybe we're not looking to groom as much on the mountain, that we shift resources in that way. So that's not going to be perfect from day one. We're gonna lean into that cross training, and I think that's an opportunity for us to keep all of our operators working throughout the winter, and hopefully that will be felt by our guests who are skiing on the mountain too. So yeah, no, appreciate the feedback, and an area we'll keep focused this winter. So, awesome. Yeah.
A couple questions online. The first one says, where is the employee housing?
Where is employee housing? It's all over the place. 33 of our employees can be housed at the summit. So we have a few different buildings at the summit that offer employee housing. And then we rent a property in Skykomish. We rent a property near Index. We rent from 2 businesses in Coles Corner. We rent properties in Plain. We rent properties just outside of Leavenworth and in Dryden. And then we also have an arrangement with a hotel in Wenatchee. And so up and down the valley on both sides. And this wasn't asked, but I'll say it anyway. Our employee shuttle that runs from 60 miles in either direction multiple times a day. So it starts in Monroe and it starts in Wenatchee to help get our employees both up and down off the mountain, which alleviates the need to drive for those who don't have a car. And it just helps our parking situation at the summit. A lot of our employees carpool, but we also have that employee shuttle option, which is huge. It's nice to be driven to work. Yeah.
One other one is asking, what are you most looking forward to this season?
Great. I am most looking forward to it snowing and getting the mountain open. I can't wait for this season. I can't wait to see these people every day, and I can't wait to just get everyone back up on the hill. We are dependent on Mother Nature. And it's snowing at the pass right now. It was snowing when I left, and we're paying attention. We're not ready for go time just yet, but ski patrol training starts on Monday. Heads nod, yeah. F&B assistant managers started this week. I have grooming and snow removal welcome back on Saturday, parking, ski and ride school. We're doing it, we're ramping up. So I'm most excited for the ski season to start. Yeah. It's good. I'm just going to keep staring at you oddly. Oh, great. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Occasionally when I visit, after visiting, I'll get an email from I forget the exact email, but it's like insights at Vail Resorts or something like that. I'm assuming it's the Vail like centralized customer research team. If we take those surveys, do you all get the results, or do you just get it in like a syndicated form way down the line? Like, do you get the verbatims and that sort of stuff?
I do.
Cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our guest services team dives into that. And so does our call center team. And so if anyone does call or send an email to our guest service email, our team responds, and then they elevate to us in operations. Hey, we got this call out. Hey, there's this issue. So if it's something that we feel like we can address immediately, we try to jump in and address it immediately. And then a member of our team tries to take a broader look at comments and go, what are the trends? Parking is a trend. So is going to the bathroom in our parking lots. So something I've not shared yet, we have an additional pit toilet at Stevens Pass in the back of Lot D. Yes, yay. If you drive for 45 minutes or 2 hours up to Stevens Pass and you're drinking coffee the whole way, when you get to the mountain, one of the first things you want to do is use a restroom. And so we are trying to improve the restroom experience in the parking lots. We get a lot of feedback about that, and I'm trying to get less. Yes?
What's the best way to give feedback to you all? Like, is it through those surveys? Is it email, a generic email? Is it find you? Like,
the surveys matter and they count, and we pay attention. We had a huge increase in our guest survey score last year, and that was something to celebrate with our team, and so that felt really good. So when you take the time to do that, thank you, whether it's positive or negative. I think an email to guest services at vailresorts.com, SP guest service, is the local email address. It's on our website. If you talk to anybody, that's Steph and our team, and they live here in town or in the state, and every single email gets read by a Stevens Pass employee, and they're great at being like, hey, this is who this needs to go to, and directing that feedback right on there. So yes, the survey, please, and then anything more specific, that SP guest service at vailresorts.com goes to our team. Yeah, thanks. Great question. Yes, sir.
So since you're still kind of on parking,
Yeah.
Is it true that Stevens has tried over the years to get the Forest Service to let them put in a parking garage? Because, we all know there's no flat land up there. There's no place to park. And, can you ever really expand without a parking garage?
Parking garages are extremely expensive. I don't know how far a conversation about a parking garage has gone. But in diving in and learning what have we done, what have we looked at already, there are potentially a few other options. So we did spend this time going, hey, what about this parcel? Hey, what about that parcel? Yes, it's very challenging to make mountains flat, and that doesn't necessarily feel good either. And so, hey, we have this kind of naturally flat area that we haven't looked at. Does that make sense? So there are some pockets at and around the summit that we're diving into and we want to understand better, and especially if they are on Forest Service land, what does that approvals process look like? Would that be part of our next master development plan, et cetera? So a parking garage is not on the table right now, and looking at how to improve our existing lots or expand where it makes sense is something that we are looking at. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
With the buddy pass and ski with, I don't know if this is something you can do anything about because I know it's Vail, but the buddy pass and the ski with a friend thing is just so confusing, and it's only like a 10% savings or something. It's not, I don't know, it's just so confusing. And when I went to visit my friend in Sun Valley, she was at work and she just called, and I had a pass waiting for me from her Icon pass at the ticket window. She didn't have to be there. I mean, it would just be so nice if we had some benefit with our pass that, we could extend to a friend or a family member that doesn't have a pass to get them up there, get them into the sport, get them, wanting to buy a pass for next season or more, that was worth it. Because a lot of times you can't be there at the same time as that person, and the coordination is difficult. So if there were any better way to do ski with a friend, buddy pass, whatever that is, that would be really great.
Appreciate the feedback. One thing I will say is if we are restricting tickets at the summit, your buddy passes and ski with a friend passes, those tickets are not restricted. So if someone is coming skiing with you on a day when we have stopped selling tickets, those tickets are not restricted. So that does help. That is one way. Same with our military passes. Those are never restricted. Little kid passes, that type of thing. So appreciate the feedback. And if you're already coming up and they're hopping in the car with you, we're not going to restrict their access if they're on a ski with a friend or a buddy pass. But heard on.
It's just hard to meet, like if you're meeting someone coming from the west side and you live here, I mean, it's just really difficult to coordinate that. It'd be nice if you could just say, hey, I want to, go on the website and say this person, give, a name, and have them be able to go to the ticket window and get a pass for a discount, whatever.
Yeah, appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Going back to opening day, you being from Alaska, you probably saw that Alaska's not opening until the 25th of November, and they're getting 100 inches of snow this week.
I was not aware.
Yes.
Go Alaska.
It's a record snowfall.
Hello, Alaska Airlines.
Is there a set date for opening the Stevens this year, or is it weather permitting, sooner or later?
We have a targeted opening date of Friday, December 1st, and that is 100% conditions permitting. Yeah.
But if it snows 100 inches between now and next weekend?
We will be evaluating that on a daily basis. So, we want to get up there. We want to get the mountain open. If that's something we could do on Thanksgiving weekend, if that's something we could do the Tuesday before December 1st, we want to get open as soon as we can. There are a few mandatory things that have to happen. We are working our way through that checklist. We will be through that checklist in a few days. Lift licensing, things like that. So we're in a really good spot. And in the years when we get the product early, we want to respond to that and go skiing. It's snowing 100 inches at home. Sweet. Okay. Man, that's terrific. Yes?
Anything new with the cross-country section of the park?
Yeah, we did a lot of brush work to help with summer growth. That's in. I know signs are up. One thing I'll share is last year we were slow on getting our Nordic cat down to our Nordic operation. And that's an example of there was snow at the Nordic Center and we were waiting on getting the equipment down there to get the trails open. That cat is delivered. It is on site at the Nordic Center. And our Nordic Center manager has a smile on his face about it, which feels really good. Another improvement, we've had some connectivity issues down at Nordic, and we've got those guys online. And so that should help with the guest experience as well. So if you were not aware, we added a number of food and beverage offerings at the Cascade Depot at the Nordic Center. Our Nordic Center manager added some retail product down there to try to improve the guest experience. And so just continuing to improve that experience. And yeah, we want to get those trails open as soon as possible. And we are set up this year to do that. Yeah. Good. Nordic cat in place. Check.
How long does it take to train an avalanche dog, and will we see the puppy on the mountain this winter?
Ski Patrol. Who'd like to take that question?
You go for
Well, I had a avalanche dog years ago, and it takes probably about 3 seasons before they're fully operational. So the first couple seasons is all obedience, introducing the dog to the ski environment, safe dog travel.
A little bit of PR on the side.
Yeah, they're basically PR tools for the first few years, which they work great for that. But yeah, it's usually a few years before they're ready to rescue people. So Angela's done a really good job of bringing new dogs on a fairly regular basis, so that once a dog is retiring out, we have dogs that become operational.
So if anyone couldn't hear that, about 3 years. So obedience training, familiarization, maybe a little PR on the side the first couple years. They're so cute. Oh man. So yeah, and Bailey is retiring and Zoe is entering the program and Ida's a year older and it's exciting.
Will she be like out and about, or is she too young to be like training around?
They're usually on about like day 1 in the base area at least, and then you see them on out.
I think you will see more of Zoe this winter for sure. You can come into the aid room to visit in the middle of the day. Yeah.
I'll be reading that.
Occasionally I need to take a time out and pet a dog, and I will definitely go down to patrol and check in. No joke. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, they have cool shirts and stickers for sale too, usually, right? For the dog
For the dog program. Yeah, for sure. Great. Any other questions? Yeah.
There's a question that might be even more important than parking. Will you make enough Bluebird stickers this year for everyone who wants them to get them?
Man, I hope to meet that expectation. They are on order. Yes, we want to make sure that they are available for our staff to share. And if folks are looking for stickers, blue and otherwise, that they are around. And there are some on the table right here if you would like to pick one up as well. So yes, it is a priority. And they are in process of being printed. So yeah, it's great. Yes, ma'am.
I just got intel that there will be lots of Abby Dog content coming this season.
Great, yeah. There will be lots of avalanche dogs shared, which will be perfect. So it's good. We get to focus more on the fun, which should feel good for everybody. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions? Good. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate the time. So thank you for having me.